Well, don't forget Dad this weekend. Father's Day just a few days away now.
And our next guest is a Wisconsin-based writer. David McGlynn wrote about fatherhood in the book, One Day You'll Thank Me, Lessons from an Unexpected Fatherhood. And we welcome David now to Live at 4. And David, happy Father's Day weekend.
Thank you for having me.
We've all heard that. One day you'll thank me.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody got that from Dad once. Now, we should mention you're a writer at Lawrence University.
I am.
How is it that you came to write about fatherhood?
So my family moved here from Salt Lake City, Utah, where we were living before we moved to Wisconsin in 2006. And that meant that our family was all really far away. We had family in California and Texas and back in Utah. And I would call home and tell these stories about the kids because my family didn't get to see the boys that much. And they were always funny and they were always enjoyable. And so I found myself at a certain point thinking, you know, I'm a writer. I should start to write some of these down. Turns out that there are a lot of books about motherhood. There are comparatively few books about fatherhood. And most of the ones that are out there are about, you know, how to survive your first year of fatherhood or, you know, how to go golfing or fishing with your dad. And it struck me that most parents, most dads especially, want to have fun with their kids, but at the same time, they take the job more seriously than it's often treated.
You got to be good cop and bad cop at the same time.
At the same time, absolutely.
So is this book about your childhood or you as a parent?
Well, it's mostly about my life as a parent and raising two very spirited, very energetic boys. But there is a strain in the narrative that is about my relationship with my own father. My parents divorced when I was 12, and my dad moved from Texas, where we were living then, to California. And I'd only get to see him for a few weeks a year. So as I'm thinking about how to do right by my kids, I'm remembering the ways that my dad tried to parent my sister and I from afar. And I thought he did a good job, but it was a unique situation.
Now, your boys are 13, 11. I have two boys that are 13, 11. Have they read the book, and what do they think?
They like it. They like it. In fact, my younger son is an especially big fan of it. My older son, now that he's getting to the end of junior high,
he's too cool, right?
He thinks, I'm not so sure I want to be on the page anymore.
How about your dad? Has he read it?
He likes it. Yeah, he likes it. And, you know, he's heard and laughed at these stories for a long time, and so he gets a kick out of them.
So you like to put humor in this?
I do. There's a lot of humor in the book.
And this all started with some columns, some essays in Esquire magazine?
Well, there are Men's Health magazine, and then others appeared in Oprah magazine, Real Simple magazine, and the New York Times.
Yeah, you got to have a sense of humor when you're parenting.
Well, there's a lot of comedy when you're trying to parent children.
Yeah, especially little boys.
Two boys.
Especially two boys.
I can attest to that. Now, one thing you're also writing on, I know you've written an essay for the New York Times on this, on the issue of, you know, we've had these stories lately all over the nation about men behaving badly.
That's right.
The Me Too movement. You're writing about that in an essay, you've written about it in an essay in the New York Times. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, you know, I did write an essay about how to help my boys become good guys or good men in this age of the Me Too movement. And I ended up talking to a number of psychologists and sociologists about their insights and expertise on the subject. And it turns out that, according to them, that the trick to raising good boys is to help them think about their lives as young men in ways that are beyond the sort of traditional expectations of masculinity. Teaching them about empathy, teaching them to do jobs around the house that might traditionally be jobs given to girls, like caring for younger children or younger siblings and washing clothes and that sort of thing. One expert I talked to talked about, you know, watching movies with your kids and noticing how the women are portrayed versus the men and having a frank conversation about that. And in many ways, it's not so different than the things I talk about in the book, that as parents, we're constantly in a process of trying to talk to our children to lead and guide them in the best way that we can. And I don't think those tricks are all that complicated, but they have to be thoughtful and deliberate.
Dads are different these days.
They are.
Totally different. Well, you can hear more from David McGlynn tonight at a book reading at 702 WI. It'll start at 7 p.m. That's a new creative workspace. It's located at 702 East Johnson Street. Might make a great Father's Day read if you're looking for a little gift for Dad this weekend. Still haven't gotten that gift picked out. David, nice to meet you. Best of luck with the book.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for having me.
Keep writing.
And happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you.
Thanks again.
Yeah.